People who grew up rich but turned out poor. What is your story? Parents quit a good job cause my dad got tired of the daily repeating pattern. It bored him too much to spend his life on it. We were really well off in Korea until we moved to America. It seemed like a piece of cake for a family like mine to start life anew with enough financial backings. My father had worked hard for his family. In the first 2 years of our life in America, my parents were scammed by shady Korean immigration lawyers. Twice. Blew all of their savings and emergency funds. Dad went to jail for housing fraud in 2010. I was in my teens and $10 million were seized. Went from a $800,000 house to homeless in 4 days because our family didn't even know he'd been in court for 2 years. Went from very well off to middle class. Grew up in Peru. My family was involved in government and acting. We appeared in a few shows. My mom was the face of a detergent brand. My sister was the face of some brand of cereal. I was doing commercials weekly. Being well off in a Latin American country was dangerous in the 90s, still is, you have no idea. My mom had an armored car. We had shared guards with the other houses in my small block. We got followed all the time, robbed at gunpoint. Moving to America to be safe meant losing it all and starting over. We cried in the plane. My mom even worked at Subway with my sister so we could get by. Now we live a nice secure life in Florida and I wouldn't go back. What are you most looking forward to doing once we get on the other side of this pandemic? Be able to go places. Not actually going, just being able to. A vacation since I don't get to stop working now. Getting my hair cut. This has really driven home how asocial I had really become. My schedule has literally not changed. I realize that I really need to get out and change that. I want to hug everyone. Therapists of Reddit, what's the worst mental health advice you've seen a movie or TV therapist give? Not a movie, real life. My friend shared their suicidal thoughts and the motherfucker started going off about reincarnation. Some and quat, therapist and quat, they turned out to be. So many people who aren't therapists replying. Anyways, as a therapist, what annoys me about media portrayals of therapy is that we just sit and listen. That's not therapy. And constantly agreeing with your client is also not therapy. Also that we give advice. The only advice I give is suggestions for coping skills or DBT skills, how to use cognitive restructuring, etc. I don't actually give advice because that's not my place. Therapist here. For me it is when movies portray therapy as something that happens quickly. Like 5 to 6 sessions and you're and quat, cured and quat, or and quat, better. And quat. Also, how some therapists are really quick to send a client to the hospital. And all of the ethic issues. Especially when you see therapists discuss their clients with friends or when they have sex with a client. Not a therapist, but my mom is. She says that most therapists portrayed in TV violate tons of rules and it annoys her to no end. And she's never seen a good therapist on TV ever, apparently. The movie 50-50 where she sleeps with her client. That's a big no-no. Crime time. Also, it's hard to portray in movies just how long the process therapy can take for people, and there are a lot of ethical things that occur that advance the plot of a movie but shouldn't happen in the real world. Serious, Redditors who have COVID-19, what is it like? Just started Z-Pack today to help prevent a lung infection. Throat feels like I swallowed glass and chest hurts when I take a deep breath. Energy low and talking takes my breath away. So far not as bad as expected. I lost 10 pounds in 4 days. I couldn't eat. I was able to drink half a water in those days. When I tried to drink a whole bottle, I almost threw up. I slept almost all day for a couple days. I had a fever and trouble breathing. I basically felt like shit. What did your school waste money on that nobody liked? Same as most schools, I suppose. Football field BS when basically every other sport in the school is more successful than the football team. Smart boards. The teachers don't know how to use them, they just don't work that well, and a classic blackboard is better to write on. Administrative bloat. When my father went to high school in the 1930s, each school had a principal and an office lady. The school board was a bunch of local businessmen who met once a month at the Grange Hall. When I went to high school in the 1970s, each school had, take a breath, a principal with a secretary, a vice principal with a secretary, a dean of boys with a secretary, a dean of girls with a secretary, a dean of students with a secretary, and a full staff of counselors. The school board consisted of full-time politicians who occupied a permanent 2-story building with a full staff. 2012 Chromebooks that die in like 30 minutes. Some of my classmates won a bunch of money for our school. Our school was one of the lowest funded schools in the district. The district took the money and spent it on another school. Whenever I was in high school, my senior year, they decided to make technology improvements. So, they swapped a lot of old textbooks for iPads. They placed unnecessary TVs in the hallways, waste of money. Our high school was way too into our football team. One year they decided to replace our grass football field with a turf one. I'd cry. But even the football players would tell me we had the best grass field in the area. I don't know why they replaced it and what. You know, when high school football players say the school is spending too much money on them, something is wrong. What superhero has the best sexual benefits from their power? Professor X using Cerebro could put the entire planet into a state of perpetual orgasm. Mystique. The ultimate cosplay. Green Lantern can make anything that he can imagine. Flash can make every atom on his body vibrate. Reed Richards' gifts are pretty obvious, I think. Teachers who are holding online classes right now, what did you inadvertently learn about your students' home life during the classes? Some of their moms are MILFs. I just got off an online class and my teacher said she saw a student in another class eating cereal on the kitchen floor. They don't care or are dead. Either way, we've failed to yield any responses from them so far. What happened to that and what, slutty girl and what, from your school? She died of a drug overdose the same year that my mom did, and I only found out during a candle lighting thing at the funeral home. No one came to light a candle for her and I didn't feel like I knew her well enough to do that. I kinda regret it. She's a children's book author. If you can't think of one, does that mean it's you? All I can remember is that she moved to our school in grade 7, and she has dated half of the male student body. All I can remember is that she moved to our school in grade 7, and she has dated half of the male student body. Old planet, new planet, red planet, blue planet. This is a nice new rock. That last one was getting a bit old. What does nobody know you struggle with? My mom's dying of cancer. I'm 19 and I have 4 siblings to look out for. We're going to have to take on a £65,000 mortgage to keep our childhood home. My youngest brother is only 9 and I'm really going to miss my mum. She has metastatic breast cancer which has spread to her liver, lungs, stomach, pelvis and is moving towards her spine. The doctor said she has months or just weeks about 5 weeks ago, so it could be sooner than I can bear thinking about. She hasn't left her bed for days and doesn't think she will again. So yeah, I'm sort of struggling with that. I'm hardly eating or sleeping. It's fucking awful. Edit, you're all so kind and supportive, you guys made me cry frown. Crippling social anxiety. I'm a very easy person to get along with, I'm outgoing. But it is a massive facade of memorized responses that I have rehearsed ad nauseum in my head so I'm not caught unaware in a social situation. What are you wearing right now? Khakis? Nothing, and I happen to be the hottest girl in your town, and live only 2 kilometers away from you. Work boots, carbon pants and shirt with green protective pants and coat over top and a hard hat. Wouldn't you like to know weather boy? Reddit, what is your favorite thing about quarantine? I have a valid reason to avoid people. I honestly like the isolation. I'm not the biggest people person so any chance where I can spend more time at home? Count me in. I've just been able to relax, catch up on some shows, play some games, play some music. It's all good. Happy Cake Day by the way. Why do intelligent people usually appear calmer? If you're intelligent you consider the merits of both sides of an argument and different people's views. That means your views are more reasonable so you're less likely to get angry that other people don't think this because it's the only way, and also you're more likely to empathize with the other person. If you're completely secure in your reasoning it makes you more calm too. Because they know that throwing a fit doesn't solve the problem. In fact, sometimes it makes the problem worse. More importantly, intelligent people tend to put more priority into focusing on the method to fix an issue. Maybe it's calm people that usually appear intelligent. Because they have learned to hold off the idiot-level panic behavior till the problem is solved and it's safe. What do you not miss about regular life? Going to work. I have no idea how I'm going to get on with my life as normal after this. I have saved a lot of money during this quarantine. So frivolous spending. Spending about 2 hours of my life on commuting every day. Having to sit in an office for 8 hours in uncomfortable clothes. Listening to my co-workers' shite patter. Pretending everyone has great ideas so as not to hurt their feelings. Spending an hour on the bus to and from work. 0